everybody, what is up? What is up? Happy spooky season. We are in October, and as I said, I am doing Spooktober Fest, celebrating horror things because I'm a big horror fan and all that good stuff. I am Katrina, host and creator and cat we trust, and I have a special guest, my girly, Chantiese, or you guys may know her as Hearts. And we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, which has happened to be my favorite slasher. Um, and you might be even bigger fan than I am. I just know he's my favorite slasher of all the slashers. Uh,
Yes, he's the best. How can you not like Freddy?
I mean, sure, he was a little kid with children because he was, but
I mean, all of them are questionable. And if you ignore the remake, they necessarily didn't say he touched the children and all the rest of them. He was just a nasty child murderer, which is not much better.
yeah, I mean, clearly he was doing some stuff with children. I mean, Jason will get a pass because he didn't really mess with children. He was okay with children. Everybody else but children. But he's my favorite slasher just because of the whole dream. I like the whole aspect, like the one place you're supposed to relax and feel comfortable and like rest for the day. Like, no surprise, here I am. And so for me, I'm like, yo, this is a really shitty way to like. This is kind of
Ooh,
shitty, like truly. Like, if
it's
you like want to rest and he's in your dreams, like how do you get like? And obviously you can bring him out of it. But my point is just out
you
of all
can't
the slashers,
escape going to sleep. You can't
so
get away from that.
yeah, so that's why he's like my favorite slasher. Honestly, it's because I like the aspect of like he's in your dreams, and that's the one place you think you would be sleeping. Excuse me, safe in. Is the dreams, and it's not like you're like answering phones like you would in Scream, or you're going to a cabin in the lake like you would with Friday the 13th, or you're sitting here like just doing shenanigans like what's happened in Halloween. It's just like no, you're literally like I'm taking a nap or go to sleep, and it's like oh no, you thought
I dozed off in class. Oh no, I'm in a boiler room.
so yeah, for me, I really like him. So there's a lot of the movies in this series, a whole lot, a whole lot. But I
This
mean, yeah,
this
would
was
you live?
less daunting than Halloween or Friday the 13th or even Hellraiser. At this point, I think Scream is like reaching the point where they have more movies or just
Yeah,
about the same amount. So it's less
yeah,
daunting,
no,
but the back end of this series kind of drags. And it's like, as a Fred head, you got to be honest sometimes. It's like, oh, Freddy's just, it starts off well, but it gets bad. And it's like, well, that's all of them.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
That's
I had to rewatch Saw, the Saw one, because I gave up after three. I stopped watching, and so I was like, okay, if I talk about it, because somebody asks, I was like, I mean, I have to catch up, so I have to watch. And I was watching, and I'm just like,
sure.
so I just need people to like explain why, like how are we here. And I feel like that's the problem I have with most horror movies. I feel like while I truly understand you hit like gold with something, and it's like, oh, this is great, this is different. But then it's like they don't know how to let it go, and I feel like that's every horror movie's franchise. I feel this way with the Insidious trilogy. Excuse me, not trilogy anymore. With the Conjuring series, I'm like, all right, can we like let it go? Like we get it. And to be fair, while the Conjuring series kind of dabbles with different cases, them doing the whole Annabelle thing, which I have, this is a rant for a different another day, and doing that whole Lala, and I'm like, why is this even part of the universe? Like, what does that have to do anything with like, how is this anything? It's just really, so I feel like every horror movie have done this to me as a horror fan. It's like, God damn it, guys, let it go. Like, stop making them. Like, sometimes it's okay to be like, you know what, farewell, this
I thought
killer.
Scream was that series. I thought it was just going to be a trilogy and done because it was that way for so long. And then four came out,
Rant for another day, because
and
listen.
five came out, and now five came out when Hollywood is hurting for something. We need things that'll make money. So now we're going to have Scream 12 next year. And, but with Freddy, the glorious part of Freddy is Robert Englund. He's older now, and they tried and failed. So I don't know if we're going to get any more with Freddy.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it's not. Because I don't want to see anybody else play Freddy.
Yeah. Oh, I hated that. And this is like nothing to the guy, but he just was not Robert Englund, and I was just like, oh no. It's just like even the way his makeup looked as Freddy like really bothered me.
So what they
Like,
tried to do is because Freddy wasn't scary anymore. Let's make him scary again. Let's make it realistic. Let's have realistic burns, and let's have him scary and dark. And again, you're failing at it. People who are watching Freddy, especially a reboot of Freddy, we're not looking for scary and dark. We're looking for that perfect blend of horror and a little bit of satire and comedy. The part about Freddy is Freddy was sadistic and enjoyed doing this. But they want to make it dark and scary, and then it's just not scary, it's dry and boring. And then they did it and then just told the whole story, same kills, just tweaked it in a way that it didn't need to be tweaked. If you're going to remake it. Don't try to like add your own spices because it's a whole different meal now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And while there was my guy, what is his name? But he's from originally, I remember him from Haunting in Connecticut. What the hell is his name? He's like always does horror movie stuff too. But I like him because he's just there's certain people you see in horror, you're like, oh, you that guy from the horror movies. You're always in horror movies, and so you kind of respect that as a. But it was like even with him being in it, I was just really agitated with like the whole thing. And Kellen Lutz, who was in Twilight, and that's my guy just because I like Emmett's character. And so I was like, okay, that's my guy. He's in there, but he wasn't even in it long. I think he was in the first like couple of minutes, and then he died. And so I was just like, oh.
The girl that they had played Nancy, I forget her name because I hated her so much. She didn't even want to do it.
See, I didn't even know that, but it actually now it makes sense because it wasn't the same level of like.
She is quoted to say that it almost made her quit acting. And if I don't know that's the thing with New Line, and they always did this with Freddy, and that's why I dislike Freddy versus Jason. Like, direct, please. Oh, I don't even watch this show. Okay, we need a director. We don't care. So that's why Freddy versus Jason was just weird, and they had fan fictions as a script,
which is crazy.
So it's just it's like two stupid white men just being white men, and it's it suffered. Freddy versus Jason, everybody likes it because it's fun for them. It's not fun for me as a Jason and Freddy fan.
Oh, I hated Freddy versus Jason. It's so bad.
Ugh, yeah. It's so bad. Jason, because now people think that kids was bullying him, and he was murdered by the kids, and he was afraid of water, and this is all random ass lore thrown in by Freddy versus Jason. When we seen this man go underwater and pretty much become Jaws. He's pretty much Jaws when he's underwater.
Yeah, I really hated Freddy versus Jason. And I'm not even a Jason fan. I feel like of all the slasher, he bothers me the most. Because I feel like truly, if you're not going to Crystal Lake, how's he a threat? So that's my issue with it. It's just personally, it's like
in space.
So yeah, I forgot about that because I hated that movie as well. It was so bad.
I'm a Jason girl and I'm a Freddy girl, and those are the two that like my father would play all the time growing up. And then I found everyone else later. Well, Chucky too. Chucky was in there, but I found everyone else later after that. I like Freddy more, but Jason's are like the movies are funner sometimes because it's like brutality and a bunch of murders, and Freddy is like probably 2 to 3 murders, but it's a fun time. Now, Jason used to scare me more because he went to Manhattan. And then he was like in Times Square, and I was like, oh, The 2 train goes to Times Square. Mind you, I'm in the Bronx, the top of the Bronx at that. There's no way Jason is going to stay on a train for like 45 minutes to get to 225th Street and get me. But still, my childhood mind said, oh, he could stay on the train a little longer and it's my house.
You know, you was crazy. I never got that with any killer. It was always the most stupidest random stuff. Like, you couldn't tell me that I was gonna walk out my house one day and it's gonna just be a random thing with quicksand and I was gonna drown and die and nobody would remember me. And that was always my logic. It was just like,
I was afraid of snakes in toilets. It's like, there's gonna be a snake in this toilet.
I mean, technically that's not too fearful because I've heard some stories about snakes popping up in toilets, and so that's not too crazy.
But in the Bronx.
No, I mean, we do have the sewers though, and I feel like, you know, there's a lot of shit in there, so I don't know, but I mean, I get it, because I never did that with like horror movie people, because I was always like, well, it ain't me. That was my vibe. I was like, well, it ain't happening to me, so I can watch it. And
that's how I try to like psych myself out. Like, okay, what was it? It was part 7. It was the New Blood, the telekinesis Jason one, and when he came into the house and he's walking up the stairs, that's exactly how my old staircase in the house I grew up and lived in. Well, not even my childhood home, like not even the house I grew up in, because it was like a young childhood and then the complete home that I grew up in. But the one I was living in when I was like a little kid, like that's exactly how that staircase looked. So every time I would have to run down the stairs, I would be terrified. This is actually how I got into wrestling. Because my brother had to walk up those stairs to come get me, and then I had to sit next to him, and whatever he was watching, I was just watching, and 9 times out of 10 it was wrestling or he was playing a game. And so that's literally being scared of those staircases and Jason and Freddy. It's how I got into wrestling. The origin story. But it looked like that, so I was terrified of Jason. But after a while, Freddy made me laugh. So I will always watch Freddy's, and I will always watch part 4 because part 4 was always on channel 11.
That is true.
They showed part 4. I didn't see part 3 until digital media. Matter of fact, I'm lying. And so my next door neighbor, I was well into my teenage years, and my next door neighbor had the full box set, the red box set. You know, the one where you see them put Goldberg in the middle? That one. He had that box set. And that's when I seen 3. That's when I seen New Nightmare, and it was like, but 4, 5, and 6, always on television.
I've never seen 4 a lot, and I don't even like 4 that much. I mean, I feel like my favorite one is the first one, but it's always, if I can get a good like a good first intro to a character, that would always have a special place. It's just more, and maybe it's the writer me, possibly, because I like a good, like, how do you introduce the character to everybody else? And I think, so for me, I love the first Freddy because of how it was introduced. Of course, there were things that I'm like, you look at it now, and you're like, okay, how the hell this flew in the 80s? Like, this was like a little too cheesy. But I liked there's certain aspects that I liked, that he was there, but he wasn't there. And so it was like, we knew he was there, but he wasn't all in your face too much. It was like, he kind of, towards the end is where he got more in it, but it was just little tidbits of him. Like, we knew he was a problem. We knew this was going to be a big deal. And I liked that intro. Also, Johnny Depp's death in it, for me, chef kiss. I mean, I was sad when I was younger. I was like,
happens with Tina. Tina's the first one, and then Johnny Depp is like the last one, because Nancy's mom, you don't know she died until part 3.
Yeah.
So those 2 definite deaths, that's like a perfect sandwich of a movie. Rod's is like, but it's scary because it looked like he did it himself, you know? The rest of the ones, you can't explain what the hell happened to Tina. And Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Even though they tried to say that he did it, there's no way somebody on the ceiling. I was like, if you like looking at how the blood was around the room, there's no way he did that. Like, realistically, let's use some common sense. And so yes, I forgot. Yeah, Tina's death was actually first seen. I'm like, damn, like that's a terrible way to die. But then to the point where Johnny Depp was like, it was just nothing but blood. Like, that's such a horrible way to go. Like, for a while, I was like, I didn't even like waterbeds. So I'm like, what if you like, and not even that, just like, what if there's like something happens and you just drown and nobody knows what happened to you in the waterbed, even though clearly there's an end to waterbed, but in my little child mind, that it makes sense. And so I'm like,
Johnny Depp wasn't even a waterbed. That shit was a regular bed.
I know. That's
Part 4.
That's true. That is true.
Johnny didn't even have. He had a regular old bed. That's why
Yeah,
it's
he went
crazier.
inside of the bed like it was like water though, right? Like he got like dragged, I guess, in his bed.
Yeah, the blood. But just the first movie itself, the characters, they felt like real teenagers to a certain extent. Like Rod was a little bit much, but we know kids who are a little bit much. I like how they stick to all of the parents just ignoring it and gaslighting the children. And you don't get it until you watch a couple more where it's just like outrageous. The parents was like, shut up, nothing's happening to you. But this one, it was just like subtle, and they were being gaslit and ignored. And then the mother said, look, honey, here's Freddy's claw. We killed him. He's never coming to get you again. Like, bitch, you seen her in a sleep study. Someone's coming to get her.
Even when she locked the doors like that and put the bars, I'm like, ma'am, like, I get that you guys, there's a lot going on, and I truly understand that it was teens dying, and I get it, that's a lot. But to put the bars on her window, and then even with his character Glenn, like the parent was like, "Oh, like this girl." I'm like, "Are we really playing this game? Like y'all not all aware that this is the reason why this is happening? Like y'all knew? Why y'all acting like they were crazy?" That was my problem with that, because I'm like, our teens
everybody, Nancy was crazy, but to Nancy's parents, she's screaming Freddy's name. So everybody else, like, she's acting real weird. So no one knows that she's screaming the man that they killed's name, except for her parents. And they're trying to cover it up. Like, once the bitch brought the hat out, you have to look at her like, oh, shit. Maybe something is happening.
First of all, for me, because I'm like, but it could be because of mom, but I'm like, again, I'm pretty logical. I'm like, if my kid is saying something that's supposedly a person that I supposedly killed or got rid of, and you shouldn't know about this, how do you know this? That's gonna have me question. How the hell do you even know? Like, I didn't tell you. Like, it wasn't put in the, you know what I mean? And I feel like logically, the fact that they were just trying to be like, oh, nothing happened. It's like, come on, guys. Like,
my thing is, if I never said a Freddy, how you know a Freddy?
Exactly. Like logically, nobody was acting logical, and that kind of annoyed me because I'm like, okay, guys, like, why if all these teens are now saying they're having a dream about a guy who wore this, or they was felt weird about going to sleep, and they're like, oh, it's fine, you'll be fine. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to question, well, why are you having? How do you even know somebody like if there's nobody at school named that? There's nobody working like that. Like, why do you even like? Why would the kids come on? Like, I feel like logically, they were doing too much gaslighting. I'm like, can y'all like be for real? Personally, I felt like if my kid said that, I would be like, this might be a problem.
The scenes that they cut, Nancy's mom said, everybody had a little brother, an older brother or sister. So I mean, Freddy killed your kid before, and your new kid is screaming Freddy, and you're just like, whoa, you need some sleep. This is crazy and talk. What? I wish they kind of kept that in, because that makes it more morbid. Like, everybody on the block had an older brother or sister that Freddy got. And y'all still like,
what? Which is that, yeah, that actually does make it worse. I mean, he was already pretty bad, but I feel like saying that he pretty much killed people was like, that's crazy. Honestly, that does make him a lot more worse.
Nancy, you wasn't an only child. This is why Freddy killed your brother. This is like, once you hear that name, it's a secret underground parent meeting that needs to be held. The kids are saying, Freddy, we need to get ahead of this. But watching the first one, now that like after you watch all of them and all of the added lore, I think the one piece of added lore that I really like is he prays up for the fear of everyone. So the more that people are screaming, it's Freddy, it's Freddy, it's Freddy, the more power he has to like kill Nancy's mom or get Glenn, who didn't believe. So I like that part of it. Because now watching it in retrospect, it's like, oh, that's why it was like real weird with Tina. And once he killed Tina, now he has the power because Tina's been saying, please come stay with me. I'm scared of Freddy. And when he was just toying with her the first couple of scenes, you know? So that's the only added piece of lore that I like. Everything else is a little bit extra. Like his mom's a nun who was raped on Christmas by 100 maniacs. Then she killed herself, and he was adopted by an abusive man, and he killed like they really piled on the unnecessary lore.
I hate when, and to be clear, I know, like, again, logically, but also degree wise, and certain things I like learned in like college and stuff. Sure, if somebody has some traumatic stuff, could it mess them up? Of course it can. Of course it can. But I cannot stand where it's like, how much Palon do we need? Sometimes people are just crazy. Sometimes people are just shitty. Sometimes people are just shitty people.
And
Serial
just
killers, they
because
all have like a bad childhood. Sometimes mother effers is just crazy, and it's okay
your
to
dad's
accept
a
that.
maniac, it's not gonna make you a maniac. Or just because your dad's 100 maniacs, they don't know whose dad is. That doesn't make you crazy, you know.
Yeah, some
But
people are
it's
just shitty. That's what it is.
who's been through worse, and they are good people, you know.
Yep.
They always do that nature versus nurture in horror movies. Oof. Do you want to talk about the second one?
I mean, we can. I know it is a little bit off different because I remember, I feel like I spoke about this with a different show, about number two in particular, about the innuendos that was in it. Uh, in regards to some of the stuff they were kind of like alluding to in that one, which was more closer to like LGBT, that like towards that. Which I thought, considering the time period, it did well. Considering, you
So
know, well,
knowing what I know about it, I can't give them a clap for that because it was supposed to be tongue in cheek. Haha, this is gay. And you know, the creators of the movie did not get the badge of saying, yeah, we made the first gay heart. No, you did it to be funny and weird about being gay. Unfortunately.
yeah, well, that does change it. That definitely does.
But
Because I mean,
movie itself get the accolades for having a gay actor play a character in the movie being gay. But it was all like nasty tongue in cheek, like, haha, we're gonna have a game called Probe. That's what I don't like about it, you know?
yeah,
But and when you hear the director talk, especially when he talks to Mark Patton, and he says, well, it didn't say scream like a girl.
I don't think anybody who's like truly terrified would have a way of how you scream. You just scream. I think that's such a weird thing to say. Like if you're scared about something, the scream is a scream. It's not you can have like the deepest voice, but if you're truly afraid, and I'm guessing that's what a good actor is supposed to make you feel like, oh shit, you scared about this, huh? Like a good actor at least. Why would you like say like that's such a weird thing to say?
He's supposed to go instead of a high pitch. Like he doesn't have a high pitched voice. He screamed within his cadence. But it was very just because it's a director, it was just very weird, and I never really with it, especially after I seen everything. The movie itself, ignoring all the bullshit, because all right, like us, when we see black people, we look at that. So I can imagine it's the same for someone who's gay and they see a character that's clearly reads gay. Like, I love it, you know. So I'm never gonna take that away from anyone. But I'm always gonna fucking talk about all them grown weird white men making this movie. And then acting like, well, we didn't do anything. Well, we didn't say, you know, be a gay man in this film. But with the movie itself, it went so far off from what the first one did. Like, you could have put a completely different character as the main villain, and, you know?
Yeah.
But because they put Freddy, it's like, we don't see any of this happen again within Freddy. We don't see Freddy possess anyone else. I guess if you want to say Alice's baby.
Yeah. I guess yeah. I guess that's probably the closest thing to what we got in number two.
But none of these things that he did in this movie, like he never jumped out in a room full of people. I guess Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
The end when it was a bunch like 4 people there watching him. I don't know. You never really see a lot of those things back up, so that's why it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And the murders. The only good murder was when Freddy bust out of Jesse's body to get Grady.
Yeah,
But
that was
Grady
pretty solid.
still wasn't good. It was just the effect of him bursting out from the body.
Yeah.
I when you break down the horror aspect of it, it's real low. That's why 3 gets spoken about highly.
Yeah.
I tried to talk about 2. I really did. I tried to get it. I tried to get it to 2, but then I'm like thinking about it, and it's not giving.
No, I hear you. I'm like, I had to think about that as well. 'Cause I don't recall any of like the deaths in that one that I was like, oh, this is something I could always think of. I like Tina's death for me, Glenn's death. I always say Drew Barrymore's death in the first Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's kiss. Like if you're thinking like, damn, well that sucks. That like if you wasn't sure if you were gonna watch it and you was like worried about like this is a good way to get you in, and I feel like that doesn't have any of those. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great death. I'm like, okay, I remember. Like it's like even some of the Jason movies where some of the deaths were like weird that I can remember, and it's like I cannot really remember much of that in the number two, honestly. Where I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah,
I remember the effects of Jason coming out of Jesse's body, but he just slashed Grady. And the kill itself wasn't much. It was the gym teacher kill. I think that's literally all the main kills in that movie was the gym teacher and Grady. And then the rest was just the party that Freddy jumped out of the floor and
yeah,
started on everybody. But again, like we said, Freddy always have a low body count.
yeah.
3. Let's just go to 3. 3 is like 3 is the movie that everyone screams is the best of Freddy.
See, I think it's good. I do like the aspect of them trying to go with like for them going into the dream world and like kind of rallying. Because I was always like in the first one, I'm like, why didn't y'all try to do this together? Like if y'all was all kind of around the same time having the dreams, and it was implied that they all kind of were, like why not y'all be like maybe we kind of work this together? And like if you
Because it
felt
took me
that it was
to think about it and figure out, can they do this?
but I do like that in that aspect. It's like kind of how like I hate when people like go to horror movie and they split up. I'm like, no, never split up. Like, no, you are better with a group, and it's always better with a group. You never go like, okay, bye guys. Like, no. And so I do like that aspect of them. Like, we're gonna kind of work this out, and we're gonna try to save a kid. And I thought, and we're thinking about people who were truly being empathetic to
Mm-hmm.
other people in horror movies. This is probably one of the top ones because of that. So you think, like I said in the first one, they didn't give a shit about them teens. And I'm like, if y'all really did, y'all would have told them what was going on. Y'all said nothing. And so y'all didn't give a shit about them too much.
But then when you dissect 3, they still didn't give a fuck about them. Because they just shipped them off to a behavior hospital to let people drug them up and do whatever. I was like, we can't even bother with you guys. Y'all still talk about this Freddy. Go here. Go here for the misbehaved teens. Do you remember those commercials? Do you remember those commercials? My mom threatened to send us to one of those centers before.
Listen, so, I get it because I had to listen. Listen, I get it.
You know, it just shipped them off, and now you're gonna get drugged up and told you're crazy. So worse gaslighting than what the parents could have did. And Neil didn't care about them until he started liking Nancy. So he got a little crush on Nancy. He was like, oh, I care about these kids much. Like this, first of all, by the time Nancy got there, they already had someone cut their eyelids off or what they or something. That's why they couldn't have knives. Like someone I can't recall exactly what it was, but someone was trying to stay awake and did something with a knife. So they have the lockdowns and all of this stuff before Nancy got there. So that means Neil wasn't doing shit either. And even after Nancy said no, it's real, he was still like, well, seems pretty weird to me. So Nancy was literally the only one like, come on, kids. I know what you're going through, right? Part 3, the story is good. The kids are good. The everything, like the kills are good. Like Philip is one of the best kills within the series. Philip is the one where he turned into a puppet. Philip is Taryn is okay. It's creepy when you think about it. Her elbow turns into the sucklets. What is it? Jennifer. Jennifer is the welcome to primetime bitch, and that literally created what we know as Freddy. Freddy was there, but Freddy was born with welcome to primetime bitch. Now everybody wants him on their interviews and stages and talk shows because that's everybody says that's the crossover between Scary Freddy and Funny Freddy. But even in the first one, he said, what did he say? He said, this is God or something like that in the first one. Like Freddy always been funny and quirky.
Yeah.
He cut off his fingers. Yeah. He like sliced his nipple. But because he said bitch and it was funny, I was like, wow, he's a comedian. I love 3. But I don't have the same love for 3 that I have for 4 because I didn't grow up with 3.
Yeah.
3 is a great movie. It's the perfect blend of funny and horror. And unfortunately, because New Line Cinema just let anybody come and write these things, you didn't get a continuation. And because 3 set a standard with the special effects and all of that stuff, that's what the movie became. So they would have the deaths and the kills and the graphics and all of these things set up before they really ever have a script for the movie. So that's why the second half gets real low. Because it was just like, we could do this, we could do this. Freddy could turn him in a roach motel. Freddy could make the map big and plug out his ear and all this crazy stuff. But it wasn't, why is Freddy doing this? It's just like, well, we'll figure it out. He's just more Elm Street kids or something like that, you know? Freddy has a daughter now. So 3 is a really good movie to watch. But then also 3 is where they start adding the backstory of Freddy and he's son of 100 maniacs, the bastard son of 100 maniacs. And now we have a nun running around and it's all gothic and it's church and we have to use the holy water and put him in a grave to stop him, but it never stops him.
Exactly.
The death of Nancy's dad. It's a good movie, but you can break like each of these. You can break down the bad parts in it. Before is really fun.
Yeah,
it's really fun. They don't add too much on the lore. Like 4 is just like, let's have fucking fun. He's gonna kill more teenagers. Let's get the rest of the teenagers from part 3. The highlights of part 3, I think it was Philip's death. It was I mentioned those. So we mentioned the 3 kills. It's like I said, it's always 2 to 3 kills in each movie, maybe 4 if we're lucky. So carrying on to 4, you have Kristen Philip. No, it's not Philip. It's what's the non-speaking one?
Oh man,
Kincaid was the black one. He didn't speak. I don't remember his name.
it's not. I know. I know Lawrence Fishburne was in that movie, but that's not him, is it?
I'm gonna Google it.
No, he's not. No, that's not. You said Kincaid. Is it
Kincaid.
His name is Ken? I think his real name is.
Ken Sagos is Kincaid. I'm not gonna think about this. We're just gonna go to Google. Cause Joey. His name was Joey. See how easy that name was for me to remember it. But in 4, he has a really good death because it goes back to the Johnny Depp kill, and he's on the bed. It's a naked woman on the bed and in the water bed, and Freddy pops out, and now he's inside the water bed. That's the they're telling us we can't do a lot of blood version of Johnny Depp's kill. But in part 4, part 4 is really fun. And I don't know, it's brighter. It could also be the music. Part 4, literally the soundtrack. You have the Running from a Nightmare that the singer, the actor who played the new Kristen, her name was Tuesday Night. She was singing Running from a Nightmare, and that's the opening song. I was like, wow, this is a really good song. And I don't know, I don't know. It's just so much of that movie feels like comfort to me, from the songs to just the characters of the movie itself. But this is the drop off of the script. They was preparing the movie before they even hired the director. And they was shooting, and it was no script. You know? But again, the graphics were amazing. The kills in this was Kristen's was the worst death. Like, Kristen, Joey, Kincaid literally got okay setups with deaths. And I guess because they were saving it for the new kids. But because Kristen's dream power was bringing people into her dreams, that's how we get the rest of these kids who are no longer the kids of the people who killed Freddy.
Yeah.
So part 3 was the last. You're the last. You're the last ones. That's what Nancy says. I was thinking about it, and she said it. So because that was Kristen's dream power, she brought the new main character, which is Alice, and now Alice has her powers. You got me. You need my powers. And those are a Hadouken at her. And yeah. Again, this when you start to describe the movie, then the script. So part 4, but again, you have the kills of, honestly, if you really think about it, the main kill in this one is when he turned the girl into the cockroach.
Damn, yeah, you're right. This was probably one of his lower key when it came to kills, as far as in the movies. He didn't really do a lot.
It was still 3 kills in this one. Well, 4 actually 6. This is the biggest body count of a Freddy movie, because you have to kill the ones that survived the last movie. So it was those 3, and then the 3 that he killed, the new kids. So It was Sheila. Sheila was the first one to go, and Sheila was the black asthmatic girl, and he just sucked the air out of her. Again, nice graphic, but as a kill, it's like we seen you drag someone up the wall. Then, Alice's brother Rick, he had an invisible Freddy doing karate. See? You say it out loud, it's like he was invisible and Rick was doing karate. And they had like the karate version of the Nightmare on Elm Street theme, and it was just like very, you guys have nothing for this. And literally that kill was they literally ran out for what they wanted to do. They wanted it, I think they wanted the bathroom to break apart, and he just falls into something, but they was just like, listen, we ran out of money. What are we gonna do? It's like, can we not kill him? It was like, we already shot his funeral. So now they just put sheets up and made him do karate with Freddy not even there doing a voiceover. And then you have the main kill, which was what is her name? I gotta Google it because I don't know why I want to say Sue, and that's not that girl's name. But she's an exercise person, and he turns her into a cockroach because she was eating something and was afraid of the cockroach. No, what's her name? They don't even have the kill. Debbie. Debbie turned into a roach. Okay. Mind you, I watch all these all the time, but now that it's time to talk about it, I can't remember shit.
It happens every time.
I watched almost all of them this whole month, multiple days, multiple times. I was trying to get Stan into it because the other night Stan came, like last Friday, he came over and I was watching, like, so it was Friday the 13th. So by the time he got home, got here, I was watching part 7. And it was just so funny the way he was reacting to it. So we watched part 8, but he didn't care for part 8. So then I put on part 4 and he started reacting again. Then I put on Freddy and he was like not into it at all. So I was just like, oh man. I like Jason. I was like, oh. But I literally watch this all the time. But Debbie turns into the cockroach, and the graphics on that look literally, they turn her into a roach. Like the arms are falling off, the arms are jelly, and it's great graphics. It was just great overall. But again, after Debbie's death, the story ends. Like, yeah, Alice go fight Freddy and says that thing she said. What is it? Now I lay me down the street, the master of dreams my soul should keep. And the reflection of my mind's eye, evil will see itself in it, shall die. And she holds up a mirror, and Freddy goes, ah, and dies. I guess he's banished in the mirror or whatever happened to him. But like after the main kill of the movie, which I'm gonna call it now because all the rest of them are just like lackluster leading up to it. It's very it looks cool, but it's no meat on the bone at the end of that movie. Yeah. That's why people shit on 4, but 4 is fun up until that death. 5 and 6. 5, Alice gets pregnant by Dan, and Freddy is in the baby's dreams. And that's how he's getting to everyone. And the kills are better in 6. But again, 6 is another one where they had the kills and they were shooting even before they had a director or a script. So He was hired in February, and the movie was out by the summer. 100, really quick turnaround in these movies from when the fourth one was released and the next one was out. So this is why everybody this is why it should they're not crafting good scripts. They're not taking their time with the movie. Oh no! Hold it up because my phone is stupid. But so they're not taking their time out with shit, and everything's really weird. Oh, is it charging? Yes. Sorry, my phone is dumb and it doesn't like charge with the charger anymore. I have to like put it on the charger. Like it's weird. But no.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was like, oh, now we have but so much time to do shows. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I gotta get on the phone. So with that, 5 is a drag to watch after, especially it's just a drag all around. The characters are worse. And now it's like, oh, your parent is strict. You're gonna die and everybody's gonna laugh at you because you're a model and we're gonna overfeed you and you're gonna overindulge and then die from gorging out. Oh, you have a motorcycle? Now you're a motorcycle, you know? The dad had a motorcycle in his truck. They turned him into his motorcycle. Great death. Great visuals. What's that kid's name? I can't remember it. The comic book one. Turns him into a comic book. Great stuff. It's just that because they didn't do it well or have a story written behind it, it's very, 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 very like this way is better. This way is better. So yeah, and then 6 is literally the worst one. 6, Freddy now has a daughter that was taken away, and that's why he killed the kids, but they took away his daughter because he was killing the kids.
Which makes no sense.
Makes no sense. Freddy was in a random guy's dream after he killed all the kids in Springfield. Except for one, because that one was going to take him to his daughter. Sorry. This is literally the worst. That one was going to take him to his daughter. And 6 is the worst one. 6 is the worst one. It's worse than 2. It's even worse than Freddy has a baby. But then we get New Nightmare, which is another good one. You don't like New Nightmare?
I mean, it's okay. I feel like I was saying previously, I feel like my issue was because we knew, like, you can tell the writing wasn't on par, and that's my issue. And again, this could also be because I'm a writer, and I'm like, I'm like a little picky about certain things, but I feel like it's better than 6. So it's better than in 6 because
So clearly Wes Craven was in his meta wave. And when you look at a lot of Wes Craven written movies, it's a lot of things wrong with them. Love Wes. But like the people under the stairs, you can poke holes in all of that. But because we've been getting really bad Freddy for so long, 6 was like, oh, this falls into the bag of I don't like Freddy's face and his Undertaker coat. It doesn't do it for me, but it was better than what we was getting, so everybody loves it and talks about it highly. It's funny because I haven't had to do this since we was on UPR. Hold my phone. Now you're getting like my weird light behind me that's in the corner. Yeah. 6 was good. The best kill in 6 was the husband. Was the husband a good kill?
I mean, it wasn't bad considering.
I didn't like
It
the
wasn't bad.
nanny because the nanny kill is just Tina's kill, but we see Freddy now. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And who else was killed in this one? I think that's it. I think it's the husband and the nanny.
I hated his outfit though. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it, and
The leather pants and the Undertaker coat.
it just was like what. And I know there was like supposedly he wanted to go back to like original roots and not be like comical, but bro, you the reason. Like you didn't have to make it comical. You chose to kind of semi go that way, and then I don't know. I feel like putting that coat on him doesn't give me more creepy vibes. I'm just like he looks like some random crazy guy like you might
Now
see on
Freddy's
the
Blade.
street.
Now Freddy is Blade, and that's what they did. They made Freddy Blade, and mm-mm, mm-mm. It's a better movie than what we was getting, but people put it as like, oh, it's the second or the third best. It's a really good movie. It's thought provoking. It's this is that. It's not. It's a little dry for me. I like Fun Freddy, and this was like it had moments where it was fun, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I have to think. Oh, okay. I don't want. We talked about Freddy versus Jason. We don't need to talk about it more. What's the best kill in Freddy versus Jason?
Damn.
That Freddy did.
You know, what I don't even because I feel like I hate that movie so much. Yeah, see, and that's even harder because it's like I really hated that movie, and I went in trying not to because I'm like, all right, you got two like considered horror icons. You know, you got somebody who's like this mass killer, even if he wasn't the first killer of that series, it wasn't him. Uh, but like you got this mass killer who like kind of hung around the lake, and you got Freddy who's like not technically supposed to be part of this world. And they could have done so much with this. And I'm like, this is what we give us. Kelly Rowland being there does not save it for me. Like her being there does not magically.
So in the 2000s, there had to be one black hip hop in the movie. That's where we got Busta Rhymes. That's where we get LL Cool J. Who else? Kelly Rowland. We had LL Cool J.
Brandy. Yeah, because we got Brandy, and I still know what she did last summer.
I forget that she was there. Yep, we had Brandy. Because you know the studies in the 80s showed the blacks like horror, so they need a little hip hop with their horror.
Yeah, no, I just really, really hated this.
It didn't do any. It didn't do anything. Like it didn't do well by Freddy fans. It didn't do well by Jason fans. It did horrible by Jason fans. New Line Cinema when they sent Jason to hell, they meant it. Then they sent him to space, and then they sent him to Freddy's land. I don't know. It's like Freddy versus Jason, in my mind, would be like if they actually gave us Sting versus Undertaker. Like, this is what you idiots asked for? This is what you wanted? I don't know. And then I don't want to talk about the remake ever no more. I think we touched on all the Freddys.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and no, the remake.
Still my favorite, even if I didn't say nice things for like the past hour.
Yeah, no, even like
poking Freddy, I could poke more holes than everybody else.
I mean, that's
No,
true. Because,
Michael Myers. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I definitely did when I did the Halloween series with Justin, and I was like, I have a lot of discrepancies, but I was kind of glad they kind of decided to scrap everything after two. Because I'm like, y'all can't, like, come on. It was so ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad they kind of decided to scrap it. And when they did that trilogy over, it was kind of supposed to continue after number two.
Every time they scrap something after 2, they always fuck it up again. H2O scrapped after 2, right? Boom. Fuck it up again by Resurrection. Busta Rhymes said he looked like some chicken burnt. Um, this new reboot. What the fuck was Halloween Ends? Like, Halloween Ends, but we're gonna follow some random ass kid that killed the kid.
That's true.
What's wrong with these things?
That's
So
true.
they
But
fuck it up.
see, the same thing with the first Halloween is my favorite one because it was how it was told. I thought telling it the story that introduced someone, I was like, all right, I was a good intro. But then I don't know. I feel like that's the problem with horror movies. Like I said, I can go on a rant every day about Scream and how it should have ended at two. It should have ended at
Yeah,
two. I know
yeah.
people like three, but I'm like, no, it truly should have ended at two because
Scream 3
realistically,
is like Friday and I'm on Elm Street 4. It's a fun one. We're having fun with it now.
yeah, semi. And don't get me started with like four and five because like I didn't even watch six. I was so irritated by five that I'm like, I'm not even watching six because I'm like, y'all
I
gonna stop
and
acting like in
I
this time
didn't pay
period.
attention to 4, but I paid attention to 5 and 6. And now it's just like they're making their own like Marvel universe with Ghostface.
And it's unnecessary. We don't need that. I feel like I was okay. Like, I always say I hated the reasoning for the first one. It's such a stupid ass reason that they was killing people. Like, go to therapy or something.
But
Like,
you
if
know
you're
what?
mad your dad left or your mom left, that is your mom's problem. And then the mom to come back and be like, "Oh, you're the reason." Like, ma'am, you left your kid. That's choice. That's personal choice. With that being said, though, I still like that it fit. Like, this is a kind of stupid ass reason, but at least it kind of I was okay with it ending after that. I was perfectly fine, and I'm like, y'all
The
gotta
third
stop now.
one
People like
being her
kids.
brother.
Now Billy had like, when did Billy got time to cheat? I was like, let's think about how Billy's character was. Truly, that doesn't fit his character. I was like,
So
even when
Scream
they like,
came out in 96, right?
hmm
So if Billy had a kid, how old would his kid be? Was the kid born before he died or after he
yeah.
died?
So I think they implied that supposedly during the time, or maybe before, or during a break with Sydney, he got this random girl pregnant. But I'm like, realistically, like think of even how his mannerisms that whole movie. Did he really have time to cheat? Like even though we knew that he was kind of hoping Sydney would like give it up, and she did eventually, but
He
like
was acting like
literally
he wasn't getting pussy, so I don't understand how he got pussy.
that was my point. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, and even the way he was just really like, even the way he talked to Stu, it was so. I'm like, there's no way he was getting. Like, I'm sorry. Like realistically, and I know people find him attractive. I mean, I didn't, but people do. But even like if you look at his mannerism, nothing about that gives he was cheating. He was too like it was he was so around her because I guess he was waiting. They were so obsessed with horror movies to the point they waited until they to the over kill it now because she did like they were so obsessed that do you really see him got in time to cheat and stuff? Like are we really? And I'm not saying men can't cheat all because we know men can, we know they can, but realistically I'm like why are we even adding this dynamic? It's so
My thing, okay,
unnecessary.
boom. So even if that is, now we're back at nature versus nurture. How does she have this killer instinct in her, and why is she seeing visions of an older person she never really met?
Because he died pretty much before everybody graduated high school. That was what he died that night. Him and Stu died that night, supposedly.
He died. So that means if this young actress that's playing this is her rightful age, that means that he had to die before she was born or when she was a baby. Don't know
Which is
him.
why I had to stop watching because I was like, we're gonna stop these games, and even them coming to New York, I was like, okay, see, this is what I'm talking about because I gotta always do this New York stuff. People tell
Leave
me,
New York. Leave New York alone. Jason showed us that it's only person that could be in New York is freaking the maniac.
realistically, I'm like, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, I think about like New York City people all the time. This is why I get mad with New York people, like when I do New York movies, horror movies. I'm like, realistically, what teenager is answering their phones talking to anybody? Like, I can barely get my oldest daughter to answer a call, and I'm like, she know it's me, And it's like, so you tell me teenagers don't even like call that much. They will tell you they would prefer tweeting or texting, or maybe a voice message, but they don't want to have a call. One, two, you
So
telling me
even
cell
this is
phones
the
actually don't have spam removal? Because I do that on my phone. You're not even getting me. You'll get my voicemail.
the horror movies work better in small cities
Yep.
because there's not such a big police force. New York has a huge police force.
Also, people don't got time for that. Like, imagine somebody doing this, like, you want to get something from a store, and then people fucking shit up. Realistically, we get so irritated with the little things that I'm like, stop playing. We don't even like, I don't like Showtime, personally. Like, I want to get where I'm going. Can we not do this today? Can we
And all
wait?
of this happening around a university, which is heavily policed, always. In Manhattan. Not just like they're in Queens or Brooklyn. They're in Manhattan.
Sure,
but it's too much. Leave New York alone. Jason
Yeah.
taught us it don't make sense.
I said, listen, that's all. Every day, I'm like, no. New York City in the 80s was wild. Stop playing. I'm like, it was wild. You get the fuck out. Like, stop playing, guys. Stop these shenanigans. Stop it. Realistically, doesn't make any sense.
And it's always by people who don't live in New York.
Exactly. Like, New York City in the 80s was crazy. My mom tells me that all the time. No man, mask or not, is going to do all this, and nobody's going to get irritated or try anything back. Because I'm like, this is New York. And we don't like nonsense. I'm like, realistically, I don't like nonsense. Most of us don't like nonsense. I mean, the ones who were born here. And I say that very, hard. Not the ones who moved here, transplanted here. The actual New Yorkers don't got time for any of that. Like, we're not, like, what? Now you delaying my day. Like, you delaying me.
They
like,
pulled an emergency brake on a train. They would have got their ass beat.
Dead ass. Dead ass. I'm like, that's not even realistic. We don't like it any. They were like, you sick, get off the train. They were ready to go to the platform.
That New York don't have that many alleys. The buildings are built on top of each other. You're not going to be running in alleys for 40 minutes.
That is correct. We don't have that.
Even when you're on the docking areas, it's like you dock, boom, you walk out of that area, it's buildings right fucking there. The fucking South Street Seaport. You walk right the fuck out, it's just buildings.
Which is why I chose not to watch it, because I'm like, not gonna get me upset.
Right by where the Intrepid is. It's the water area, and automatically it's fucking Hustlers across the street.
And that's true. You leave the seaport and it's just buildings.
So I don't know. Thank God Freddy never came to New York.
Listen, I need people to stop playing.
It makes sense for Freddy because he's in people's dreams.
And even then, if you're thinking about, because we're the city that never sleeps. Technically, we're the city that never sleeps, right?
Everything's closed by 10 o'clock. We sleep. We don't have no choice.
I mean, me, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm getting old now. And I'm like, oh, I'm in bed. Y'all need to what? Katrina? It's not me.
Listen, people come here like, oh, man, I want to do fun things in New York. Baby girl, you must want to come here during fucking daylight. What clubs y'all got? I don't know. Is club still?
Oh, I'm not the person that actually does. I'm like, oh, I haven't done clubs since I was like 22.
When Kiki came down here and was asking me questions, I was like, baby girl, I'm bored. You want to go club?
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
You want to go to club, watch Stan Russell? That's where I be. To the middle of the fucking night. We be coming in 5 o'clock in the morning from fucking driving from another state. what I do out here. We don't do nothing fun.
Same though. Like, if I'm at home watching, if I'm anywhere, it's probably a wrestling show now. And if I'm home, I'm home. Like I'm like, oh, I'm going out. Don't tell me to go out at 9 o'clock. You won't see me. I better been out already.
People ask me to go out at night. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
have already been outside. Don't ask me to start my day at that time. Like, oh, you want me to
How
come
do I
out
have to,
now? And I'm
wait. I don't drive, so you expect me to get on the train?
right. No drive either.
It's shit worse
I
than
gotta
Freddy
already
on
be
the train.
outside, but I might do something at nighttime if I'm outside already. If I'm
It's
home,
shit
I'm
worse
not
than
going
Freddy on
anywhere.
the train, and I'm in the top of the Bronx too. So that's a good hour just to get to Midtown. Baby, what y'all asking me to do? What you really want me to do? And the funny thing is, because you know it. It's like, wait, Metro North. Oh, man.
Listen, when I got out of Impact, and I was like, oh.
That's another thing that made me say, man, listen, this show's the inlay, and it's in Westchester.
Listen, I took a cab home. I was
Exactly.
like, I took a cab home. I was like, and when it started pouring too, and I was like, oh, y'all don't want me in the train. Because I'm like, what is this? Like, why I start pouring like this? I got in the cab. And I got home a lot quicker than I was. Like, if I was on the Metro North, I would have got home super later than I already did. And I got home pretty late.
If the
In the
Metro
cab,
North
I got home pretty late.
running.
Crazy work.
So, like, you're saying like New Jersey Transit that run all night. Metro North, you get one train from 12 to 4 in the morning.
And that depends on what New Jersey Transit you're talking about. Because if it's like the path, you're fine. If it's some other trains, they start getting real slow at like 11, where you're like, wait a minute, 2 hours. Like, I'm gonna wait 2 hours for a train. Like, man, listen.
My brother used to make me go to an indie show in Rahway, New Jersey, and we used to be waiting for that train forever. Getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he want to stop and knock on the corner store to get a soda. Nigga, go home. Get that shit in the morning. Well, you need a soda at 3 o'clock in the morning. Go. You need to drink water and go to bed. Why are we standing here like idiots?
No. But sorry guys, you did derail, but
I knew it was gonna go off. Once we started talking about Scream, I knew it was gonna go because I know that I've been feeling away.
Just honestly, just New York stuff. I always get mad because I'm like, I stop playing. Like, clearly the person who wrote this don't live in New York because we don't do any of this. I'm like, let's stop. Let's be for real. Like, when I see some of the New York people, I was like, yes, I felt this in my soul. I was like, this is exactly what it is. This whole like, oh, no, we're not doing that. Us people who was born here. I say that like not the ones who moved here like 2 years ago. I'm a New Yorker. No, you're not. You're not.
But you know what's crazy? Jason from Jersey. Wessex County, I believe.
Like I said, realistically, he would have realistically he shouldn't have done all that in New York in the 80s. Like, he's playing games. Like, New York was crazy in the 80s.
Realistically, there was no way you're gonna get from a lake to New York on a boat. On a what type of boat was it? It was supposed to be like a cruise ship, but it was like a little
like a freight boat. It didn't even look like it looked like one of those freight boats that you might have had people maybe if you help somebody out the water. It was those vibes.
It was like the boat you randomly see in the East River and stuff like that.
With cargo. Yeah.
Listen. But Freddy's cool. Freddy as a thing. Freddy as a killer himself. Because once you start looking at the movies, it's like Freddy's the worst. Nah, actually, as a killer itself, Freddy's dope.
No, he's my favorite slasher. I always said that. I like the whole aspect of it being in the dreams. Like, that's the one place I want to rest, and now I can't even do that. Crazy work. Everybody else, I'm like, first of all, I wouldn't have met Jason because my ass ain't going to Crystal Lake. I was like, I don't do lakes. Me?
Order? Black girls?
One, yeah, because I can't swim. One, but two, I don't do cabins. Why don't I do cabins? Because that's where shit goes down. You're not gonna put me in that situation, so I won't be there.
I'm afraid of animals. What the fuck am I doing at a camp?
Right. Bears. Pause. That's where I gotta pause a little bit. What do you mean? Like,
so we all know Stan lives upstate, right? He's gonna so mad we here. So it's like, it's not a fucking state. We all know Stan lives upstate. He was coming home honking his horn, screaming one time because his goddamn deer in his driveway. I'm like, What the fuck?
They do
Just
be
in your
coming
house
there.
like
They
that?
do. They definitely do up further up from the city. That's correct.
He's just honking, get the fuck out of the way. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's a fucking deer in the driveway. I'm like, deer. Like one time we was driving in the middle of the night and seeing little foxes and shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? Why do y'all want to live here?
To be fair, I've definitely seen like raccoons and shit in Queens. I have. I definitely have. But I
I
also live
remember
on
when
the
I
Long
first
Island
started seeing them
border.
in the Bronx, and it was 2006.
No, I've
Maybe
definitely seen.
2005.
I haven't seen them recently, but the ones I saw, I was like, y'all kind of big. Like raccoons
Huge.
get this big. I
Yo,
wasn't aware.
so
I was like, oh, y'all get big, huh? I ain't like that.
one time I was looking out the window, 2005 or 2006. 4 or 5 niggas on the corner. I come back, look out the window, 2 raccoons. Everybody gone.
We don't deal with any of that. And then that's what it is. It is we don't. Let me clarify. Certain people don't deal with that.
Certain people.
I had to be clear because there's some
Some
there's some
people like,
other
these
ones
are
who want to
raccoons are really
explore.
great pets.
Some want to explore. Someone's like, oh, let's get a video, and then shit goes down. Not Katrina, but
This is my raccoon Floyd. Yeah, he's a good boy. Get the fuck out of here. Another raccoon incident I seen was someone shot a raccoon. I seen a raccoon with a bullet hole in it. And sometimes I have to I be like, the Bronx ain't that bad, but I dead ass seen a raccoon with a bullet hole in it. So maybe it is that bad. Maybe it is that bad.
Oh my god! If we get nothing else from this episode, it's like maybe the Bronx is that bad.
This is the first time I ever said it out loud. I was like, maybe you're onto something. They shot a raccoon.
Yeah.
They didn't shoot a raccoon.
Oh my god!
They're shooting anything.
Oh man, that's gonna be the caption for this. You guys talking about Freddy? Well, we were.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever been on a show where we just stopped talking about the topic. So
that is true.
If you're watching it and you know me, you know where this show's gonna go anyhow.
If you watch any NXT show, I always go to tangent every time.
We should be lucky we're not naming. Like, listen, the Woman's 250 came out. We could be talking. Honestly, I might get that list. We might have to do a show on it.
Me, you, and Kiki.
Me and Kiki.
We might have to do it. Me, you, and Kiki. We might have to do it.
Because number 1 last year is 37 this year, and I don't know why. Because number 2 last year is number 3 this year. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we gotta go. We're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this. It's gonna be you can. I already know it's gonna be tangents. I already know. We have to make this happen.
Yeah, because 1, congratulations to the people that made it. That's the best you can say. My friend Tiara James is on the list. Congratulations to her. They also have her in the run-ins for Rookie of the Year. So congratulations to the good people at PWI. And also, you were in the PWI. You didn't see it?
No.
Hold the fuck
I
up.
am?
Yes, you are. So am I. So is Stephanie Hardy. Hold on. Hold the fuck up.
What? Oh, I
Black
did
Girl
not know.
Magic.
Oh yeah, you're right. Listen, listen. I'm like, was I on something else that I'm not aware of?
Yes, I brought that. I was looking for the magazine, but I literally last week just put it away.
I have to buy that too, just because we are in it. I have to buy it.
I'm drunk in the back like this. Matter of fact, it's not even my thumbs up one. They didn't put my thumbs up one. It was just me smiling. But I was listen. Everybody's like, I want to take a picture with you. And half the time I'm like half drunk. I'm like, no. Everybody always wants to take a picture at the end of the show, and it's just like I'm already under influence. Why? My eyes are halfway open. What are we asking me for things?
Oh my god.
But yeah, this was Freddy Krueger.
ahead. Yeah. So you tell people what where they can find you on.
Well, whenever whenever I'm inspired or I can get stand inspired, we do shows on Talk of Champions. The Facebook group. You can join Talk of Champions. The page Talk of Champions. Instagram Talk of Champions. Twitter Talk of Champs, because there's another show named Talk of Champions, and also there's a book named Talk of Champions. So I don't think we could ever do anything under the Talk of Champions brand without coming into some trouble. Me Heart. You can find me on Hearts HHARTS on Instagram and Twitter. I'm under Chantiese on Facebook, but you might as well just join Tucker Champions if you want to talk to me on Facebook. You might as well join Tucker Champions.
And as you guys know, in chat we trust pretty much everywhere. I'm everywhere for the most part. Just the E is a 3 on everything that's not Facebook. And yeah, everything that's not Facebook, everything E is unfortunately a 3 because people. But this was fun. This was fun. Thank you as always for coming on. But this is like super random of wanting to do. You would think I would have done this 6 years ago, how much I love horror movies. But I'm like, let me just do something on my channel finally.
So last year, do you remember what I did on my Twitter last year when I did my favorite movie kills? So this year I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I'm not going to do anything. And then like the 10th of October, I said, I could have did trailers. The trailer to a scary movie used to scare me more than the movie did as a kid. It's that guy's deep voice talking about Freddy coming to get you. Like I have vivid memories of Halloween 6, seeing it and running through the house. There's a new Jason. Listen,
I mean, you still got a little. You got like 11 days if you really want.
Honestly, I'm just gonna do it next year if I remember, or something, because I was like, because then once the 10th came, then I have to overwhelm myself with like finding 31 trailers of movies. And honestly, that's not that hard because there's how many, 13 Friday the 13th, 13 Halloweens, 8 Freddy's, half the month.
That's true.
But I try not to cheat like that. It's so easy.
Yeah, I was like, let me do more. I've been trying the game too, but I was getting stressed. I always tell people, it's like I will beat people up on games. I will shoot something. When it comes to having to make me run, I'm like, no, and I start stressing about the running part, and I'm like, oh no, because like now you want me to run and jump. I don't do that in video games. I'm like, I will always be like, so my daughter, you do the jumping part, and when it's time for me to do what I need to do, I will come back in and do what I need to do. I don't want to run and jump anyway. So like,
I'm a weirdo.
Like in fighting games, jumping and running is fine, but I feel like when you have to like in these horror games, I love playing horror games. It's like you want me to run? Why? Like,
so I'm mad that now that I actually have friends, Friday the 13th, the game is going down, and I don't really care about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one. It's cool, but it's not as fun as Friday the 13th, the game was.
I mean, I do have Friday the 13th. I do.
And Dead by Daylight is okay, but it confuses me.
I've only played that once. I gotta play better because like I know Shay plays that often. I only played it one time and I was just like, yeah, I'll be back. And normally when I say I'd be back, I'm not back.
But other than that, like I play Sims, and I can, listen, people fuck with Sims content, but I play it so OCD that no one is gonna watch me. Like my Sim has to get all of the skills and all of the collections, and then I have to put all of the collections in order and separate them and organize them, and it's not fun to watch. But it pleases me. And I love fighting games, but I'm bad at them because I don't have a system to play fighting games on, so I don't play them consistently. I'll just go and watch.
I realized that like fighting games when I was growing up and fighting games now, fighting games are a little bit more complicated because they want you to do more. And
they want you to play.
And I'm like, eventually I'm going to get to a point where I'm probably not going to be as I was when I was younger because it's like my hands don't even move that fast anymore. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, the kids, I'm like, wait a minute, because, they talk some shit about the kids.
They're going to get carpal tunnel.
They for me, they're gonna probably start like really whipping my ass. And I'm like, goddamn, see, you can nothing's let this happen to you with kids. You could always be better than kids. But fiber wise, I'm starting. I was like, oh, my hand is starting to hurt. Like I can't even do what I want to do before. Like you just kick some ass. But
I
I
can't
love the
even
horror games.
want to play games with Stan because Stan is so goddamn fucking competitive. It's not gonna be fun. We're gonna break up. It's gonna be Mortal Kombat. Um, I played Street Fighter and I played Tekken with him. He don't know how to play those games, so like he watched me a couple of times, but I was watching him consistently a little bit. But other than that, it was just like his game is Mortal Kombat, and that's gonna be the game he want to play. And I suck at that game. I always have. I like the lore and the stories, but I do not know how to play that game.
Yeah, no, I definitely listen. I'm like, oh no, they changing this up. So I'm like,
Like
I will shoot the shit out of something. I'm like, I
ASAP
will use all
Melina,
the bullets, and y'all gonna be mad that I took all the bullets. But guess what?
Melina
Freddy's
and
dead though.
Jade, and have my little cheeses because Jay had the staff and Melina had the teleport. Boom, that's how I won. All right, that's it.
We derailed again, guys. Sorry.
It's gonna happen.
But yes, this episode I will have all the links in the description. Definitely go get Talk Champs a follow. Join the group. Group is fun. And while I am on the group, but I'm like, it's weird. I have too much stuff going on, and so I see stuff. I'm like, oh, let me now check some posts, and then I gotta catch up. It's bad, guys. It's bad. But thank you as always for popping
Thank
in.
you for having me. I listen. I want to talk about horror movies more. It's literally I'm passionate about wrestling and horror movies. And it's like
Vibes.
you see how I go crazy about wrestling. Ooh, try to tell me Michael Myers is better than Freddy. I'm gonna start it's the runes. The runes. Like you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. Mm-mm.
Yep, horror movies. I'm definitely. I tell people all the time about horror movies. Is like I watch The Conjuring like background noise. It's not even like it's like I know it now probably word for word. And it's my but I particularly like paranormal movies usually in general because I feel like that's even creepier than some random slasher guy. I'm like a slasher guy. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not answering my door. My door's locked. Come in here if you want to. But like paranormal, I'm like okay, well if I can't really see it right away, that's kind of creepy. Like I'm like all right, calm down.
I had things move in my closet, so I don't watch too many paranormal. Like it was like literally hot summer day, a cardigan was just swaying on the hanger. I was just like, oh no. So
My thing has always been like this could happen to somebody, but not Katrina. I always like not me. Like don't let's not have that happen to me. Happen to
someone
some
said something like,
random
"Oh, do
person.
you want to exercise it or like get rid?" I was like, "Listen, it's clearly bothering that cardigan and not me, so I'm not worried." Once you start trying to exercise the ghost, then that's when they start coming for your ass. So you don't bother them, they won't bother you.
That is well the good one, yeah, that's true.
But listen, if one is bothering you from all of these movies we've seen, you bothered it somehow, or they want you to tell their story.
Or they want you out. But since I'm not moving anywhere new, at least that right now I'm not.
Cause Reagan definitely was on that Ouija board.
She was. She was. And they always say, know what you're doing. If you're gonna mess with one, know what you're doing. Because it's always like obviously you don't touch the Ouija board and then possess. That's not how it goes. But like they can lie. I was like, they lie, and if they lie, I'm like, oh, we're friends. Okay. And that's always the problem. I was like, you gotta know what you're doing. But this was fun. I do think we
So
need
fun.
to. We probably gonna have to get a kind of kinky. It's like I'm the only person who call. I feel like I'm one of the people who call it Kiki. Everybody's like Kiki. I'm like no, because I'm introducing her as Kiki, and so I cannot call her past that. It's like no, it's Kiki for me because like that's how I was introduced to her. Keith,
Yeah.
like it's like
Listen,
Keith, I get it, and that's for you random people, but I am not random,
for you
and
new
so it is
people.
Kiki.
Listen, there's some people that call her by her government name, but we met her as Kiki, so we gonna call her
That's how
Kiki.
I met her. So I told some people, I'm like, you mean Kiki? I'm like, oh yeah, because
I
remember when
refer
we
to
did
her.
those
I
articles
refer to
about
her
you
as
guys,
Keeks
the
if
Black
I'm
History
talking
Month
to
that
someone
time?
else. I refer to her as Keeks if I'm talking to someone else because they may not, you know.
No, even then, like I remember when we was doing the thing for Women's Wrestling Talk during the Black History content creators, And so I'm like, oh, I'm doing like low Chantiese Kiki. And so she was like, I'm like, you mean Kiki? I was like, oh, I'm already doing her, sis. Like, I get it, but it's been called. I'm doing Kiki, and I was like, yeah, this is what I know her as. I mean, I get Keeks, but I don't call her that because I met her as Kiki. And so that's just how I call her. Like, I will put it on like stuff, and it says Keeks, but if I'm talking directly about her, it's Kiki. I was like, I cannot call her that because that's how I was introduced to her as Kiki, and so I can't. So it's like,
yeah, it's like that too. Especially like if I give you a makeup name, you're never gonna get called anything else. There's someone in Sam's wrestling school that I still call Joe, even though his name is Sam. Like, all right, hey, Tall Joe. You're not the regular Joe, but you're tall. You know? Once something is in my brain that's your name, I'm never gonna. It's hard. It's hard. Now I know that that's not your name, but I still, when I see him, like, hey, and say the wrong name.
But guys, it's been fun as always. Definitely go subscribe, follow on social media, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.